Hi, my name is Bob Jablonski. I'm with Jablonski Tax Relief. And at Jablonski Tax Relief, we help taxpayers nationwide deal with IRS collections, levies, liens. We help with all IRS problems, but our specialty is helping taxpayers who have large balances and owe to the government. So if the IRS has assigned a revenue officer to your case, that's a major escalation. Um, it means your case is no longer in the automated system, ACS, where you're calling an 800 number, you're getting collection notices only. That's the main source of collection. And you're no longer just reacting to those notices, but now you have a trained IRS employee who's personally assigned to your case to resolve your case. Now, it's not the end of the world, but your ability to make mistakes and have a good outcome has just decreased substantially. So kind of keep that in mind. In this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain what it means, what they are about to do, and what you can do once that revenue officer is assigned to your case. So, as I mentioned earlier, the great majority of cases are handled by ACS, automated collection systems, which is a call center where they handle incoming calls. And most of the collection itself, you're going to be getting notified with notices and letters from the IRS. Notices, CP14, CP501, CP503, and so on. There's a series of escalation notices with the IRS in ACS. When a revenue officer is now assigned, you're now being assigned to field collections. There's now an IRS employee who's trained at this function who is personally handling your case. And it's not something that just randomly happens. It happens for a number of reasons. So some of those common reasons are you have a pretty large balance with the IRS. $50,000 or more, but quite often you owe into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. You have a payroll case. Payroll cases are considered to be high priority with the IRS, where you owe payroll taxes to the government because not only is that your money, but it's also the money of third parties, such as your employees. They take that very, very seriously. Quite often, when it's getting escalated, you've received notices but you haven't been resolving them through ACS. The IRS feels they have to take it to that next level. And at this point, they're probably considering enforcement. So they believe you need direct oversight. And I didn't mention you may have multiple unfiled returns where they believe you're going to owe taxes on and you're just not filing. So those are some of the reasons why it may have been escalated to a revenue officer. So this revenue officer, they have substantially more authority than they do at when you're calling the agent at ACS. They can issue bank levies. They can issue garnishments of your wages. They can file federal tax liens. They can request Form 433, A or B. 433A is going to be for personal. 433 is going to be for business. They can request those unfiled returns be filed by a due date. That's one of the things. They can set firm deadlines, and if you don't meet those deadlines and you're not working with them, they can then move forward with enforcement activities. So they do a lot of things outside of what you'll see when you are in ACS. Even though it's a major escalation when a revenue officer gets involved, it doesn't mean you're going to be immediately seized or something along those lines. You're going to have assets seized, bank accounts, payroll garnished. That's not necessarily the case if you handle it the right way. The IRS and the revenue officer, they want to work with you to find a solution. The revenue officer's goal is to get you compliant, get you into a solution, and get the case off their desk so they can move on to the next one. It's not really to punish you. So they're trying to work with you within reason. It doesn't mean they're going to let you walk over them. That's not the case usually with revenue officers, but they do want to work with you. So what's going to happen when a revenue officer is assigned? Usually you're going to get a letter stating that they are assigned to your case with their contact information and a list telling you what information they need from you. And that information might be bank statements, Form 433A or Form 433B, depending on if it's an individual or business that the IRS is going after. Information about other assets and other information that they need to resolve the case. In addition, they're going to be asking you for unfiled returns if you have not filed returns. And that's very important because if you have unfiled returns, they cannot agree to anything with you, essentially. So you need to get those returns filed. They're also going to give you a deadline to respond, which is really, really important, right? You have to meet those deadlines. You have to be at least trying to meet those deadlines, requesting an extension of time as early as possible. So keep that in mind. A lot of the mistakes that get people into trouble, taxpayers into trouble, is completing the final financial information correctly, deciding to hold back information from the IRS, which makes them, the IRS then doesn't trust anything they give them. They're looking at everything, or giving them financial information that makes them look like they can pay more than they can, which the IRS is then going to expect them to do, and it's going to end up with a bad resolution. So what are the biggest mistakes to avoid? As with any IRS issue, you don't want to avoid their contact. You don't want to avoid the notices, the phone calls. You don't want to just avoid them. You don't want to submit incomplete information, or you don't want to submit inaccurate information. You don't want to agree to a payment plan that you can't afford, right? Because it's just going to default. You're going to default and you're going to start all over again, only in a worse situation. And you don't want to refuse to submit those unfiled returns. Refusing to work with the government, and once the deadlines pass, you're more likely to be levied, bad things to happen to you. So what should you do? Well, get compliant immediately. Make sure you request the amount of time needed to get it done within reason with the IRS to get compliant, but get compliant immediately. Gather your financial information. So gather all the financial information so you can complete the 433 accurate. Understand your collection statute date, whether the 10 years left, whether it's 10 years left or 6 months left. Very important in the next step, which is come up with a financial strategy, with a strategy to your problem that is the best solution for you, one that you can live with, but one that the IRS will also accept. So that's what you want to do. Because remember, even at this stage with a revenue officer, it's just like any other IRS collection issue. Most cases are solved through installment payment plans. You know, it might also be something like currently not collectible status, and even sometimes offers in compromise or innocent spouse. All of those things might be solutions, just like any other type of IRS collection, whether it's in ACS or whether it's with a revenue officer. So let's wrap this up. If you've been assigned to a revenue officer, you need a clear strategy and not just guesswork. So I offer free consultations for taxpayers who owe $25,000 or more, or who have several years of unfiled tax returns, and where we're going to map out the right strategy based on your unique numbers and your unique timeline. And important thing to remember here is the clock's ticking, right? With a revenue officer, they're going to move much faster than ACS. So I put the booking link. It's on my website, jablonskitaxrelief.com contact page, and I put that in the description as well as in the pinned comments. If you like the video, please like it so others can watch it. Subscribe so that you can watch more videos in plain English. And if you have an IRS problem, if you've dealt with a revenue officer or have the IRS problem, please feel free to leave questions or thoughts in the comment section below. And as well as if you would like to see different topics than what I covered today, please leave it in the comment section below.